Welcome to Game Theorem, where we have serious discussions about absurd entertainment.
I'm Kyle.
I'm Kira.
And we'd like to start off with a bit of a trigger warning. This episode, well, let's just say if you're really into Christmas cheer and spirit and faith and whatnot, this is not the episode for you.
Yeah.
So, especially this will go for any young children, especially American ones. Maybe pass on this episode or don't let them listen to it because we're going to kind of ruin Christmas.
Yeah. Although I don't think any children should be listening to us.
Hey, we have child-friendly episodes like Pokemon and Mario.
Okay, a few.
It depends on which episode you're listening to. I don't.
It depends on whether I curse or not.
Well, we try to make it to where you curse less in those episodes.
Yeah.
But then, episodes like Bayonetta, it's like, yeah, go to town. Anyway, so today, we're talking about Christmas. Mm-hmm. So anyway, now that we got that warning out of the way, let's do the intro like we normally do.
All right.
In the red corner, we have Kira. She's doing a podcast, and in the opposing blue corner, we have the Chris of Kringle. We have the Santa of Claus. We have the mascot of Coca-Cola, Santa Claus. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, wait, he just canceled and didn't show up because he's not real.
Well, I won that easily.
Kira wins.
That was funny.
Yeah, so that's what we're talking about.
I like that.
Thank you. So you want to start us off, Kira?
Yeah, all right. In case you didn't know about the origins of Christmas, we're going to start there.
Oh, yeah, because we thought we could talk about Christmas and media, and we will definitely get to that. Mm-hmm. But why don't we talk about the fiction of Christmas itself? The entire thing is just a made-up consumerist Christian holiday.
Yes.
So take us off.
All right. So Christmas started out as Saturnalia, which was a Roman holiday to celebrate the winter solstice and Saturn.
Saturn, as you might know, is the Roman equivalent of the Greek god Hera.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of our traditions originate from this Roman holiday. Like gingerbread man originated because Romans used to eat people-shaped biscuits.
Yeah, people-shaped. People-shaped. Non-gender conforming people. I've actually celebrated Saturnalia.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, I used to take Latin in high school, so it was a fun thing to do.
That's cool.
In fact, we had a class project for Saturnalia, and I ended up making a Roman edition Monopoly board.
Oh my god. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it was. I still have some of the graphics on my computer. Instead of community chest, you had community crate. Mm-hmm. Instead of, what's the other one? Chance or something?
Yeah.
I had Fate.
Yeah.
And I even made little clay figures to play as the characters.
That's cool.
So like one was a chariot, for example. One was a sword, one was a shield.
Oh, that's cool.
And instead of jail, you had Colosseum. Instead of just visiting, it said just watching. Mm-hmm. And then like the play cards were really fun too. It's like one of them's like, your empire converted to Christianity. Pay $50 for each villa. Or, sorry, 50 denarii for each villa or something like that. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, Saturnalia is fun, but the real holiday in Roman times was a big drunken feast kind of situation.
Yeah, and actually there was another festival more north that was called Yule. We also take some of our traditions from.
Yeah, that's where the Yule log comes from.
Yeah, and that's where the whole decorating trees comes from. Because they would decorate their evergreens outside.
But yeah, Saturnalia was much bigger because, the remains of the Roman Empire stretched throughout Europe.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Whereas the one you were mentioning, that's Norse, I think.
I think so, too.
Or Germanic, one or the other.
I just wanted to mention it because I remember that tradition that comes from it of decorating trees.
Right. Mm-hmm. But then
the church comes along.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Actually, I want to point this out, by the way.
Yeah.
If you're ever saying like, Christmas is not the way it used to be, all this capitalism, and I'm like, okay, dissing capitalism, I'm cool with that. All this capitalism is ruining the true meaning of Christmas, religion, Jesus, all that. It's like, well, technically, the first thing was Roman gods. So you want to go back to the roots. You celebrate Saturnalia.
Yeah. That's funny.
If you're saying you like the Christian version, that's like saying, I like the second edition of Christmas. The third is crap, and so is the first. Second's where it's at.
That's funny.
Anyway, so what happened with the church?
So the Catholic Church decided to change Jesus' birthday from around September to December 25th to compete with Saturnalia. They wanted to take over the holiday and make it about Christ. So they decided, we're going to celebrate Jesus' birthday on the same day as Saturnalia. Oh.
Did you see what year they tried to do this in?
No, there wasn't anything about that.
Well, I'm sure you could find it if you looked it up, but, this was probably around 2 millennia ago.
Yeah.
Maybe less than that. Anyway, yeah, I've heard this story before. And, I mean, Jesus' birthday is not exactly known because...
There's a lot of debate.
I mean, I guess we're making the assumption Jesus is real.
He was a real man. That's not debatable.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, there's a fact that a man who was Jesus was born in that area.
You're saying there's
around that
no
time.
possibility that the entire story is just fiction?
I'm saying there was a man who existed in that time period. Yeah.
Okay, well, sure, whatever, I guess. Who may or may not have been divine, depending on what you believe.
Yeah.
We're not going to make a call on that. You guys have your religion if you want.
No. We're not going to make a call on that because that's for the Council of Nicaea to decide.
That's a good one. That hadn't happened yet. That's a good one, Kira. But some people have tried to figure it out, and I've seen stuff where they think it might have been around September because of like talk in the Bible of seasons and stuff. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't in December 25th. They just picked the same day as Saturnalia. Mm-hmm. Well, Saturnalia wasn't always celebrated on the 25th, but that was like right in the middle of when Saturnalia was usually celebrated.
Yeah, when they were converting to Christianity, when the Catholic Church was actually spreading.
Oh, yeah, because that was their thing. They were converting.
Yeah, they wanted to take over this holiday because they felt it was heathenish. So what they figured was, well, if we can make the excuse that it's about Jesus, you guys can still have your party and still have the celebration.
I think that overlooks something, though. That makes them sound nice. The real thing is they were going to party no matter what, and no one was going to stop them.
Yeah, exactly. So the church was just threw up their hands, was like, fine, you can party, just say it's in the name of Jesus.
Exactly. Because, I mean, we'll see this later, but there have been riots if you don't let them party. Mm-hmm. I wonder what would happen if the American government today tried to do that. I bet you there would be riots.
Yeah,
I bet you we would see the
cancel
corporatocracy
Christmas.
as the corporations just like, nope, we got to make money this holiday.
Yep.
But I'm just guessing. Anyway, like I said, the church was trying to convert everybody, right? Mm-hmm. Conversion missions all over the place. This is also true of Norse mythology.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because in some versions of Norse mythology, the tale was co-opted. You know how in the end, what's their version of Armageddon called?
Ragnarok?
Ragnarok, yes, thank you.
Yeah.
And the world gets covered in fire and ice, and there's a giant snake involved. It's complicated. Mm-hmm. But in some versions of the story, after everything's over, there are two survivors, a man and a woman, Adam and Eve.
Oh, really?
Yes, and that was designed to bridge the gap from Norse mythology to Christian.
Oh, wow.
And convert them over. Because a popular thing when converting other religions is
to try to fit it within their our already existing belief system.
Exactly, because a monotheistic religion is by definition a narrow-minded worldview as opposed to a polytheistic one where they have more options. So things like Greek, Roman, or Norse, they have a pantheon. A lot of the times when anyone who believes in a pantheon was told, oh, you should believe in our God, the Christian God, then they're like, okay, we'll put that one on the net bottom of the list. Unfortunately, they're later, even if that worked at first, which sometimes it would, they would later be like, oh, no, it has to be the only one.
Yeah. Because,
the whole true God and everything.
Yeah, which is ridiculous.
And that's why you get such heated fights and debates between different religions that have their one true God. Mm-hmm. Although that's not to say that fights and debates didn't happen before that. There were fights within Rome about which of the pantheon was the best.
Yeah.
So I just think it's funny. It's like, you like Poseidon? I agree Poseidon exists. He's just lame.
That's funny.
So anyway, it was a bit of a tangent, but I thought it was worth it.
Yeah. All right. So the origins of Santa Claus, which was based on Saint Nicholas, who was actually a Christian orphan who used his inheritance to help anyone in need. Actual Christianity. What do you have any reaction to that?
You're just referring to, I guess, the best part of Christianity, which is the generosity?
Yes, because in the Bible, it specifically says that he was following the Bible because he was Christian, and the Bible said to give away your possessions to those who are poor and stuff.
Oh, so he was taking it more literally, where most people did not do that.
Yes,
I see.
Absolutely. And because he came into an inheritance after he was orphaned. But anyway, he was persecuted along with many other Christians by the Roman Emperor Diocletian. He was eventually released from prison and attended the Council of Nicaea. When he died, the day of his death became St. Nicholas Day. He became the patron saint of gift-giving, children, and basically anyone who needed help. There's this big thing with saints where they're like the patron saint of like a million things. Mm-hmm. So he's like the patron saint of sailors and children and gift giving and a bunch of other stuff.
The superheroes, they're superpowers. I have charity power. I'm sorry. I don't mean to trivialize it. The thing is, Christianity was originally, essentially a cult, or the same as what we would call a cult today. Mm-hmm. But by this time, Christians were all over the place. The Roman Empire had, in large part, converted to Christianity. But there were great schisms and different types of Christians. Which ones were going to be the right ones? Mm-hmm. That's why St. Nicholas was persecuted. Because the Roman emperor that was persecuting him was also a Christian, just not the right kind of Christian.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. Okay.
And the Council of Nicaea was basically this whole nationwide event run by the emperor to essentially let's figure out which one is right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We watched the whole series.
Yeah, Extra Credits has a great video about a series if you want to ever listen to it. Yeah. It's a very abstracted version, mm-hmm. so that you can get the gist of it. Mm-hmm. But essentially they were deciding whether Jesus was divine and how he was divine. Mm-hmm. That was the big crux of the debate. Mm-hmm. Anyway, St. Nicholas took part in that debate.
Yes.
And then he died and ended up becoming immortalized or whatever.
Yeah, I believe there was this cult of sailors who worshipped him.
Okay.
Yeah, there's actually one story that shows how he was originally associated with gift giving. There were 3 daughters of this poor man who didn't have dowries and were therefore never going to be able to get married. And on 3 separate days, a bag of gold appeared in their house, and one for each of their daughters. And that was seen as the why he was a gift giver,
It's probably a folk tale.
Yeah. And then they had their dowries, so they were able to get married. Yay.
All right, so let's skip ahead in time a bit.
Yes. In Europe, Christmas was banned from 1644 to 1660 by the Puritan majority in Parliament, who believed any kind of merrymaking was sinful.
The Parliament of Britain, right?
Yeah, in Britain.
Yeah, Christmas was banned. So this is what we were alluding to previously, where they're like, all this drunken partying, we got to stop this. This is the prequel to Prohibition.
Yep. And I mean, they're Puritans, so yeah.
Does anyone ever talk about Puritans favorably?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Christmas was also banned in Boston from 1659 to 1681 by the Puritans there as well.
Oh, yeah, because they had come over to America as well.
Yep.
Yay.
Yeah.
You ever read The Scarlet Letter?
No.
In school? It's mandatory reading in most states.
Nope.
Oh, okay.
I never had to read it.
Well, the whole story is about essentially a woman who has an affair with a Puritan priest or something. And because of that, like
Well, I've heard of the story.
all the blame is put on her. It shows you a puritanical society, so that's how most people are introduced to it. Mm-hmm. And, okay, so next, Christmas seeped back into the American popular culture thanks to waves of immigrants bringing it back with them. Mm-hmm. Because it had been banned for a while, and even when it was not banned anymore, it just wasn't a big thing until the immigrants started filling in it.
Yeah, they brought in their traditions and, their celebrations.
So if you think immigrants are ruining American culture, no, they brought what became American culture.
Yeah, they make up American culture.
Thank you, immigrants, for Christmas and pizza.
And the railroad.
Well, I didn't want to mention all the architecture of America, because then we'd be here forever. I suddenly thought of pizza and became hungry.
Well, we're going to eat soon after this.
All right. Yeah, we're not fans of Christmas, as you can tell. Like, we didn't celebrate Christmas this year.
Yeah.
Which is honestly nice. It takes off a lot of pressure.
I know, right? We don't have to get gifts for everyone. We don't have to play nice with, frankly, racist relatives and that kind of crap.
I also, unless you give someone money, then you're almost always going to be ripping yourself off. Because, you buy a $50 t-shirt for a relative, unless they think it's worth exactly $50 that you paid for, they probably won't. Mm-hmm. Because if they did, they would have already gotten it out themselves if they really thought it was worth that. Mm-hmm. Since they didn't get it for themselves and you got it for them, they probably think it's worth less.
Yeah.
And that means, like, if they only thought it was $20, that means you spend an extra $30 that person would not have paid for. That goes against the entire idea of the hand of the free market. Of capitalism, of if people don't think it's worth something, they won't pay for it.
Yeah.
Because you've convinced them to buy things for each other, and they don't know what it's worth to each other.
Yep.
That's why among the best gifts are gift cards. Mm-hmm. Because it's essentially just a replacement for money, and it still retains its exact value.
Yeah.
So it's like a hybrid between getting money and a gift.
Yep.
So, you want a gift from me, I'll give you a gift card.
Ha. I'm not expecting anything from you.
I also tend to pick like the most generic things like Walmart.
Yeah. We actually did that.
Yep. Yes, we did. Last time when we did that. Yeah. Anyway, we should move on. So thank you, immigrants, for Christmas. Well, I mean, we don't celebrate Christmas, so I guess we're not thankful. People who like Christmas, thank immigrants for us.
Yeah.
Next.
Coca-Cola contracted an illustrator who designed the modern Santa Claus in 1931 based off of St. Nicholas, and Coca-Cola started advertising with the design before eventually replacing it with the polar bear.
Santa Claus is in. Yeah, this big, jolly, miracle, magical guy who lives in the North Pole and everything. Oh, wait. What would be better than that? A white bear. And Coca-Cola's like, yes, I love it. Global warming.
You know, this
Actually, I wonder if there's a correlation there. Probably not. That's probably reading too much into it, but what?
actually this illustrator who did the painting,
Yeah.
he had
Do you know it was a he?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
he had things around him model for him. Like he had his neighbor's dog in one of the advertisements and stuff like that.
So you're saying that maybe there was just a really overweight and elderly neighbor that might be the true Santa Claus?
Maybe.
He was the artistic model envisioned for this illustrator?
I don't remember whether he had a model for the actual Santa.
By the way, as a contracted illustrator throughout my life, I kind of resent the idea that you could create essentially a deity. Like what's like it's probably, I think Santa Claus is the most modern deity we have when it comes to like religion and stuff, because we systematically lie to our children about it, right? And so people believe Santa's real. So that's a deity, right?
Yeah.
If you design that deity and you got paid for just your hour's work and then a corporation sells that image for decades, I would be a little mad.
Yeah.
He should have at least gotten royalties on that.
Maybe.
Could you imagine if every time Santa appeared, that illustrator got royalties?
His family would be
He would be
taken care
richer
of.
than the Koch brothers.
Yeah. You know what? That's an interesting point. I never looked into what kind of deal they had.
Well, contracted, that kind of tells you it all.
Yeah.
He probably got paid like $100 for his day.
Well, he made several advertisements for them.
Well,
so
okay.
They
Per-
kept contracting.
Per
him.
ad, I guess.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess maybe that was enough to feed his family, to stay alive, that kind of situation, but still not as much as you'd think.
Yeah.
So, yeah, oh, by the way, yeah, Santa Claus is a Coca-Cola mascot. Based on the St. Nicholas, sure. But
And they depicted Santa Claus before them, but our modern vision of what Santa looks like.
yeah, he looked nothing
wasn't-
like what we have now.
Yeah, people would draw him as everything from a gnarled elf thing to like I don't know.
Yeah,
to
the modern
some
Santa
kind of magical
Claus,
creature.
Yeah, the modern Santa Claus compared to previous Santa Claus is like comparing Ariel, the Little Mermaid, to just any mermaid.
Yep.
Like, Disney still has the copyright on Ariel.
Yep. All right, so Christmas became very capitalist and the holiday shopping season became longer with the movement of Thanksgiving to the second to last Thursday in November in 1941.
Thanks, FDR.
Yeah, like literally the corporations petitioned him to move the holiday so they could have a longer shopping season.
I mean, I kind of understand it in a
Well,
way.
to be fair, it was shops like mom and pop shops too.
This
who
was
did
also
this.
right after the Great Depression.
Yeah.
So FDR, he was trying to fix everything. And so when corporations wanted an extra week for shopping, he was like, yeah, that will probably actually stimulate the economy. I'm not going to say whether he was right on that.
Yeah, just in case people didn't know, originally Thanksgiving was always on the last Thursday of November, no matter how many Thursdays were in November.
Yeah, but now it's always set to be the 4th, even if there is a 5th Thursday.
Yes, and that was the issue. They felt like years where they had a fifth Thursday really shortened their shopping season. So,
And then Thanksgiving's also another made-up holiday.
yeah, yeah, it shows how it's so made up by the fact that they literally just moved it at the behest of corporations.
Exactly. And I think it's Thanksgiving, people knew it was made up. It was just an excuse to feast.
Yep.
But then America was like, no, we have to have a reason for it. So why don't we make this incredibly racist and lie of a story about pilgrims and Native Americans?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyway. So what happened after that?
Black Friday was introduced as the start of the Christmas shopping season right after Thanksgiving in about 1952. Although, to be fair, the term Black Friday at the time was only used by police and emergency responders who were dealing with the increased traffic and accidents that culminated in so many extra people going shopping on that day.
Oh, wow, that's interesting because black is usually refers to a bad day. So like the Great
That's
Depression
what it
started
originally-
with Black Tuesday.
Yeah, that's originally why they called it that.
Yeah.
Because it was a black day for them because they had to work extra long shifts and deal with all this extra crap from so many people going shopping on the same day.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay, I want to say something, but why don't you say the next line first?
All right. Cyber Monday was coined in 2005 after retailers noticed the Monday after Thanksgiving was one of the biggest shopping days of the year.
And now they market towards that. They add on to that.
Yeah, they only started advertising Cyber Monday in 2005.
So I want to say something. This is something that some people say as a joke, like, ha ha, isn't that funny? But it's not a joke. It's reality. On the fourth Thursday of November in America, we celebrate Thanksgiving, a day to appreciate the bountiful harvest that we have in our lives, and that's why we feast. Mm-hmm. We often spend it with family to give thanks for all the good things in our lives. Mm-hmm. The very next day on Friday is Black Friday, where we then spend everything we have to go get more materialistic goods to make ourselves feel better. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Why? Because supposedly there's great deals on Black Friday. Really, things are just marked up the rest of the year. And then Black Friday isn't just one day anymore. It's been extended with the addition of Cyber Monday. And essentially, Black Friday and Cyber Monday together run for about 2 weeks until it's just before Christmas. Mm-hmm. Just before things start getting last minute.
Actually, yeah, it's supposed to end on Green Monday, which is the last shopping day you have to buy stuff online and have it shipped in time for Christmas.
Okay. So then we have our Thanks Day, which is followed by our materialistic capitalist weeks, which is then concluded by our gift-giving, happy, religious, sanctimonious day of Christmas, where you're supposed to have all the good feelings. Like you have to be happy, you have to enjoy your family, enjoy giving gifts, not receiving them. Although, come on, what kid doesn't enjoy receiving gifts?
Yeah.
So I just feel like it's very hypocritical. I mean, I think actually not hypocritical. I think it's an example of what America has become in this corporocratic age, of the fact that we have two holidays that are just single days, Thanksgiving and Christmas, of essentially enjoying the more basic things in life. Mm-hmm. Sandwiching, what's the true point of the whole thing, essentially a whole month or a few weeks at least of consumerism. And this happens every year. Yeah,
and Black Friday has gotten to the point where it even starts on Thanksgiving evening.
True, yeah. And so some people are like, oh, this is ruining my Thanksgiving by having Black Friday encroach. And some people are like, oh, you're already playing Christmas music? It's not even Thanksgiving yet. And some people are like, oh, you're still doing Black Friday? It's almost Christmas. I'm like, this isn't new. That's how it's been going for decades. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Like, I think when those comments are made, you're missing the entire point of the season. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I have a bone to pick with these holidays. I can
tell.
Do you think it's okay if I mention my birthday?
Yeah.
I was born on Thanksgiving, or at least so I was told by my parents. I think I later looked it up and it wasn't actually technically accurate. But every so often my birthday falls on Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. Because my parents lied to me. Anyway, so for a long time, I thought Thanksgiving was cool because it was like my day, right? Mm-hmm. But now I just I don't even want to bother. It's just opulent. Mm-hmm. And turkeys are dumb. Chicken sandwiches is where it's at.
Turkeys are actually dumb.
Thank you. Okay, we've been on a bit of a tangent. I just felt like it was a really important point to make.
Mm-hmm. So now we can finally start talking about Christmas and media.
Oh, yeah. Okay, let's get to that. We spent about half the episode. Good. We timed that pretty well. All right, so you start us off on this, Kira. I don't know if you guys can tell, but she researched this episode.
Yeah, let's start with Christmas movies.
Nice.
Yay. Just so you know, every year Hallmark comes out with like 100 shitty Christmas romantic comedies and movies, and they air them the entire month.
It's because they don't take a stand on anything. They just appeal to status quo, so people play it in the background. They're not movies that anyone, I think, especially likes. They're just movies people don't hate. They're movies that people will just play over and over again in the background the Christmas season.
Yeah, I don't like them either, but I pretty much was forced to watch them because I had people watching them and I had to be there. So yeah, I've seen some of them, and they are the blandest, whitest, shitty romantic comedies ever.
Is there a phrase for that, like culture reinforcement? Something where it just reinforces what your culture says is good?
I don't know.
That's what they do.
Yeah, that is. All right, so we're going to start with one of the most famous Christmas movies called It's a Wonderful Life. It takes place in 1945, the movie does, but it was released in 1946, and it started airing on TV in the 1980s, and it was aired like for 24 hours on Christmas Day.
They would just rerun it over and over and over.
Yes, due to copyright expiration in 1974, which only happened because of a clerical error, which is something most people don't know.
Yeah, these TV stations, they found this thing that had just expired its copyright from like 20, 30 years ago. They're like, yeah, we'll just play this over and over again. No one's watching anyway.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, when it was released in 1946 in theaters, as far as I can remember when I did the research, they pulled it from theaters just before Christmas.
Oh, no, they pulled it like immediately after Christmas Day because they're like, okay, well, this movie's over now.
Mm-hmm. All right.
No one's going to care about this anymore.
Yeah. And most people don't know. They think that they just let the copyright lapse because they didn't care about the movie. But no, it was actually a clerical error.
Right, but my point is, like, that movie, that's the one where, like, the guy's feeling suicidal and has to be proven that his life is worth living, right?
Yeah, basically an angel takes him throughout his life and shows him how different everything would be if he was never born.
And he had a full life and family that he was willing to leave behind.
Yeah, he had a wife and a daughter, at least. I think it was just a daughter.
Sad Caucasian man in the 1940s with a full life and everything has to be convinced why he actually has it good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like Ebenezer Scrooge.
I'm picking on him a bit because, I mean, depression is a problem that shouldn't be trivialized. So I won't say anything more on that. Mm-hmm. But this movie is often considered like a staple, a classic and everything. And the only reason it has endured for so long is because of how cheap it is to air.
Yeah. Well, they don't play it anymore.
Oh, right. It's actually been replaced.
Yes. They play A Christmas Story for 24 hours every Christmas for a couple decades now, at least.
And I mean, it's a pretty similar situation where it's just cheap to rerun and rerun and rerun.
Yeah, exactly. And in case you didn't know, at the end of the movie, you know what? I'm not even going to say spoilers for this because come on, if you haven't seen this movie, like
I haven't actually.
Well, I know, but you don't want to see it.
Don't spoil the end for me. I want to find out when I watch it, i.e. never. I'm joking. Go ahead.
So they get their Christmas dinner ruined and have to go out and eat. So they go to this Chinese place to eat for Christmas, and the people there sing Christmas carols, and they sing in a really racist, awful accent.
Oh, you showed me that.
Yeah, and the actors' reactions to that are real reactions. No one told them that the Chinese actors were going to do that.
The actors responded as if like they were offended and whatnot?
I don't remember.
No, I don't think that was on screen.
No, they didn't respond as if they were offended, but their reactions were their true reactions.
I see.
Because back then,
they probably didn't even care. But although, I remember because you showed me that and they said they were surprised because... why were they surprised?
Because they didn't know that was going to happen. They didn't know that they were going to sing in a really racist.
They thought they were just going to be singing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yay, Christmas movies. No, bad Christmas movies.
Yes.
Also, you didn't put this on the list, but all the like the claymation videos, like the Rudolph one,
Oh, yeah.
like the Rudolph claymation video or movie is really offensive.
Oh, yeah, I know. I've heard about that.
The whole thing is basically justifying bullying, basically saying like, oh, look how Rudolph was bullied and everything, but it turns out he had a useful talent, so we stopped.
Which is ridiculous.
Like, what if Rudolph didn't have a red nose, huh?
As far as I know,
no. What if his red nose was just cosmetic and not useful, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, oh, he looks different. Let's bully him. This is okay. Santa approves.
Yep. I think right after, even right after he's helpful, he's still not nice to him.
Yeah, they had some type of backhanded comments. I forgot what exactly.
Yeah. But yeah. And of course, the Grinch Stole Christmas. That actually is that's a nice story because it's basically saying that Christmas isn't about the presents, you know? You can't steal Christmas because Christmas isn't a thing that you can steal.
Yeah, that's good. The problem I have with the Grinch is it portrays anyone who does not buy into the Christmas idea is inherently an evil, twisted villain.
Yeah, and they do that with Ebenezer Scrooge too.
They do it with like every single Christmas movie. There's never someone who's just like, yeah, I don't celebrate Christmas.
Yeah,
I mean, and I'm not even.
They always hate it with a passion.
Yeah, not even in like a secular way where it's like, oh, I just don't celebrate it. I mean, that would be going, I think, a little extreme for Christian America, right? Mm-hmm. They don't even do it the honoring another culture method by saying like, oh, well, I'm Jewish, so I'm celebrating Hanukkah, right? Like you barely even see that. Mm-hmm. Although in more recent times, I think a lot of people are more respecting of that, but you don't really see that in media. Is my point.
Yeah, and actually, a lot of the times it's the butt of the joke, the kid who doesn't celebrate Christmas, but because they're Jewish or whatever, and celebrate Hanukkah.
Right.
I mean, it used to be that way whenever they mentioned Hanukkah in media.
And I was just using Hanukkah as an example, as another winter December holiday. Mm-hmm. It is in December, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. That was just an example. But still, like the fact that you have to buy in or you're some twisted villain, don't like that.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
But I do understand what you're saying about the whole twist of the Grinch Who Stole Christmas is the fact that when he succeeds and takes the presents, they're still happy and celebrating Christmas anyway. Essentially, he divorces them from the materialism of it, and they decide to have fun anyway, which I would argue is a more improved version of Christmas. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you want to have materialism, I guess I don't want to judge you. If you enjoy having things, that's fine. Just admit it for what it is and try not to let the big corporations swindle you.
Yeah, and don't dress it up as some tradition, like don't try to justify it with like, oh, I have to do this because it's religion and it's expected and I have to, that kind of stuff.
Like,
do it because you want to, not because you're blindly participating in a tradition.
And I mean, I would argue that's why sentimental gifts are among the best as opposed to high dollar ones.
Mm-hmm. If you make something for someone, they'll definitely appreciate it a lot more.
Or just do something with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, that's just our take on it. We're not trying to tell you guys like what you have to believe or do or anything. We're just trying to tell you the truth of where Christmas came from. If that doesn't align with your preconceived notions, I mean, facts are facts.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, do it however you want. Mm-hmm. Knowledge is power. So just, if you know the truth of your tradition, you want to partake anyway, I say that's great because you're making an informed decision.
Mm-hmm. It's the blindly going along with it that's bad because it means you are educated on where it all came from.
Exactly, which is why I think how America has systematically indoctrinated and brainwashed its children to believe in Santa, and anyone who says otherwise is considered an evil monster is, well, it's downright monstrous.
Yeah.
You've-
If we ever have a kid, we got to tell them that Santa, like, we can't tell them Santa's real, but we got to tell them that they can't tell other kids Santa isn't real, or otherwise they'll get in trouble.
Do it the Neil deGrasse Tyson way, where he would ask his daughter, "Do you think Santa's real? What's your evidence?"
That's funny.
What was the last thing I said before you mentioned that? Oh yeah, lying to children. That's what it was.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think lying to children ultimately encourages them to believe in some fantastic, magical thing instead of the truth, and that their parents worked hard to get money to buy those gifts for their children. Mm-hmm. I think that is far more beautiful than some magical deity made by Coca-Cola.
Yeah, I really agree with you.
I'm going to start a new cult called Worshippers of the Polar Bear, where we worship the Coca-Cola mascot nowadays, the polar bear. And we will celebrate by drinking Coca-Cola with marshmallows in it to symbolize the polar bear swimming in Coke.
That's disgusting.
And then, once the polar bear goes extinct after climate change has taken effect in, 20 years? Mm-hmm. 12 years? Then no one will know that the polar bear was a real thing, and it might as well be a fictional creature, a mythical creature.
That's terrible.
Yay.
All right, so next we should talk about TV Christmas specials.
Oh, yes.
The biggest one that we care about being Doctor Who.
Yes, Doctor Who is an interesting show. We definitely like to do an episode on it sometime, but it falls so much into British tropes. Mm-hmm. For the longest time, was it 13 incarnations of the Doctor were all just Caucasian men? Mm-hmm. Even though, the Doctor could be anything. Now it finally is where there's a female Doctor. Mm-hmm. But, stuff like that. And
I'm curious what the Christmas special is going to be like this year. With the female Doctor.
Well, I haven't watched any of the female Doctor ones because we're still catching up on Doctor Who because you're behind. But I'm really looking forward to getting to them.
Mm-hmm. Although it's going to be sad when we get to them and we can't just binge watch whole seasons of Doctor Who anymore. We'll have to wait a week like a peasant.
Well, see, Doctor Who's one of those series where it's just on and off in my life. Mm-hmm. Where it's like, there's not new stuff to watch. I haven't paid attention to Doctor Who for years. Let's watch all of it now. And then in a few months, because we don't literally watch it back to back to back.
Yeah.
So then we're finished. Like, okay, we're done with Doctor Who. That's all there is. Okay, let's wait a few more years until some stuff has accumulated.
Fair enough.
But every single year, they will have a Christmas special. Mm-hmm. Sometimes Christmas isn't really the focus, so it happens to take place on Christmas. Those ones are the better ones, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. But sometimes Christmas is an essential theme of the episode.
Yeah.
And they tend to be some of the most cringe-inducing episodes, in my opinion.
Yeah. Remember the first Christmas special was the Charles Dickens episode, right?
Technically, no. That was actually a main series, but it was a Christmas episode.
Yeah, it was a Christmas episode.
But yeah, I mean, it just...
And that one was...
very bad.
Yeah, you didn't like that one.
It's just because they buy into this whole idea of Christmas, especially because Doctor Who is such a multicultural show in its setting. Mm-hmm. Of going across time and history and aliens.
By the way, it gets to the point after all these Christmas specials that no one stays in London for Christmas.
Well, actually, I like that they reference previous Christmases of every Christmas everyone dies. But
yeah.
But this is a bit of a spoiler for you, Kira, if this is okay.
Don't tell me.
Really?
What?
I was just going to say something about Christmas in the Doctor Who world.
All right.
It essentially gets to the point where every society has its own version of Christmas.
Really?
Every alien species.
That's so dumb.
Exactly, right. And I actually like that they tried to explain it, but I was just like, why'd you have to even do it in the first place?
Well, every alien society apparently has their own zodiac system, too.
But the problem is, if you use that Doctor Who logic, it gets offensive really quickly.
Yeah.
Because it sounds okay to say that about alien societies of other species and whatnot. It's like, oh, that's your Christmas. How nice. How quaint. Mm-hmm. But that goes for societies within planets as well, not just other
Yeah,
planets.
and you're
so
also
that means
judging it by our metric.
exactly, and that doesn't go just for aliens. You're saying all societies, right? Mm-hmm. So, Judaism, your Hanukkah is like our Christmas, right?
Yeah.
Or with Kwanzaa, you're basically just saying that anything that's not Christmas is an alternative of Christmas.
And it's also lesser to you.
Exactly, because you're essentially using the metric of Christmas being the real one. Next, what else we got?
We're finally talking about Christmas and video games.
Ooh, yes. There isn't a lot of it.
No, there really isn't. The only examples I could find that were like relatively recent are there's a Headhunter pack for Borderlands 2.
It's a mini DLC.
Yeah, which is basically just a small Christmas themed
Expansion.
yeah, where you just kill things and you kill a big snowman.
Yeah, so the character Marcus sold a large shipment of guns, but it's gone missing. He enlists the player characters to search the nearby frozen town of Gingerton to find them. And then there's snowman attacks that become more common until you have to kill Mr. Tender Snowflake, which is like a giant snowman.
Yes. And that's how the Headhunter packs typically go. There's some small reason to go and do it, and then you kill people. Or not always
monsters.
People. Yeah, whatever.
Snow people monsters.
You know what? Those mutants in the Wedding Day Massacre aren't monsters. Oh, that wasn't a Headhunter pack. Never mind.
I know it's another tangent, but I can't look at the word snowflake anymore.
Yeah.
Because that term has been so co-opted by like Nazi sympathizers. Mm-hmm. And even when you're actually talking about the ice crystal itself, there's just so much baggage with it because it's used to try to sound like progressive people get offended all the time. Mm-hmm. And I mean, sure, lots of things are offensive, but I mean, come on, look at how many people are probably going to be offended by the fact that we just completely trashed on Santa.
Yeah.
Yeah, who's the real? I'm not saying it. I'm not stooping to that level. We got to think of something worse. Hail, sleet. Yeah.
Okay.
Sleet.
No.
Sleet just sounds like it's something bad. It's like, what are you? Are you hail or rain? Make up your mind, Sleet. Using that precipitation knowledge.
Wow.
Sorry. This episode's a lot more loose.
Yeah. All right, so there's a Saints Row 4 DLC called How the Saints Saved Christmas, where basically your character doesn't like Christmas and doesn't believe in the spirit of Christmas, and everyone else on your team does. So you have to go save the future from a evil mercenary called Claus. And he's going to destroy Christmas and the universe, so you have to save Christmas from him.
And the universe?
Yes, and you rescue Santa Claus.
Okay, so that sounds incredibly dumb, but I think that's the point. It's satire. Saints Row's always been satirical.
Yep.
So I think they're making fun of that whole thing by the fact that they're like, oh, they're destroying Christmas and the world, but Christmas.
Yeah, not only that, but they have this whole undercurrent storyline of the boss, you, not believing in the Christmas spirit and everyone else giving you a hard time for it. And then by the end, your character sees the point in Christmas.
Ugh, I hate that trope. That goes along with the whole Grinch crap that we were talking about.
Yeah, but they make fun of it. Like,
they
like satirize it.
Satirical show. Yeah, I still hate the trope, though.
Yeah.
So, that's something. I never got to play that one. I never got to play the Saints Row 4 DLC because I was broke.
Yeah, you should. I have it, and I have the DLC.
I've been telling you to play Saints Row 4, but...
Well, if you get a copy, we can play it co-op.
You can play as the Nolan North voice. He's the guy who did Richtofen.
Yep.
Okay, so in addition to DLC for Christmas stuff, there's also cosmetic stuff that's released. This is honestly, I think, the most popular form of Christmas propaganda in video games. Mm-hmm.
MOBAs, actually.
MOBAs?
Yeah.
What about-
Isn't that what you call them?
Multiplayer online battle arenas. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, like Smite.
Well, yeah, but these games often release Christmas skins for all their characters. Like
Yeah, League of
Smite and
Legends.
League of Legends always release Christmas skins. And recently, with Bethesda actually having a creation club for Skyrim Special Edition and Fallout 4,
Because we can't not talk about Fallout.
yeah, they released Christmas content for those. For Skyrim Special Edition, they released the Saturnalia pack, which they misspelled Saturnalia, right? Didn't you notice that?
Yeah, I said that when I saw it, but
You're
in,
not
re-
entirely sure.
in retrospect, it's probably one of those words that's just old and was in a different language, so there's multiple ways of spelling it. But
Fair enough.
every way I've seen is Saturnalia.
But yeah, where they give you, I think it's a reindeer horse and a special Christmas outfit.
And for the record, in Fallout 4, the Christmas stuff is pretty good quality. The mod
Yeah,
maker
the
who
holiday
did it.
pack
but-
is actually fairly big. Like you get skins for armor and weapons and a whole set of
settlement stuff.
yeah, settlement
To
stuff
build a
decorate.
Christmas town.
Yeah, to decorate for Christmas.
My only bone to pick with it is that Christmas doesn't make sense in Fallout, considering that the war happened right before Halloween. Mm-hmm. So a Halloween pack makes sense. Christmas, not so much, unless they found it like in an abandoned apartment store or something.
I mean, it's very possible that. Actually, thinking about the quest, don't you actually find the stuff?
You find a crazy Santa impersonator.
Yeah, in an old department store. He used to be a department store Santa.
I guess it just would have been cool if you actually you could go into the department store.
Yeah, you
Like a mall? Like, what if they just added a mall? Why are there no malls in Fallout? It's just occurred to me. Why are there no malls? Malls are quintessential capital America.
You know what? You're right. Were there no malls in DC?
The only thing I can think of is in the alternate timeline, because malls were actually invented by a socialist communist sympathizer. I forgot what his name was.
Yeah,
And they were co-opted by capitalist corporations.
that they just never made malls in the first place.
Maybe. I don't know.
Oh, maybe the communist crackdown was a lot tougher
So the idea
because
was
it went
botched
on
before it
for-
ever went off.
Yeah, because it went for a lot longer. Like the whole, what's it called? Starts with the C. What's that called where you specifically try to go after communists?
Oh, McCarthyism.
McCarthyism. Yeah, the whole McCarthyism type vibe went on for a lot longer in the Fallout universe than normally.
Yeah, malls were essentially supposed to be like work havens. They were supposed to have like, instead of stores, you'd have bunks where people could live, and then you would have like resources, communal areas.
I want to take a mall and convert it into a homeless shelter.
Well, you ever see like those public parks? Mm-hmm. A mall was supposed to be that, but in a building.
Yeah, that would be much nicer because then you wouldn't have to say, "Oh, the weather's bad. I can't go to the park."
Exactly, but there were supposed to be like festivities and bunking and stuff like.
Communal areas,
Exactly.
basically, and they would provide a place probably for homeless people.
The closest thing I can think to what the mall was supposed to be is in Alaska. There's this one town that's really isolated and the weather is terrible, so that the entire town lives within one apartment building.
I'm not sure it's an apartment building. It's pretty big.
It looks like an apartment building, maybe a small hotel. Mm-hmm. But the entire town lives in that one building. There's like 100 of them. Mm-hmm. And they got everything, food, water, some
We
stores.
should move there so we could.
So we can never go outside again.
Yes, that would be awesome.
Yeah, but we'd be isolated.
So they have internet, don't they?
Probably not good internet.
All right, that's a deal breaker.
Yeah. You want good internet, we gotta move to Japan. Because even like the slowest internet there is.
I wonder if there's a town in Japan that's entirely indoors. Last I heard, they were thinking of building something like that.
Well, you can go to China where they're creating new man-made islands.
Oh yeah, I heard about that, but they're only doing that for
For conquest. They
Yeah.
are trying to take advantage of the UN law about was it like 3 miles off the coast is yours.
Yep.
So they're building new islands so they can claim more fishing rights.
Yep.
Although I feel like the UN should be like, it doesn't count if you build it.
Yeah. That would be a simple solution to that.
Yeah, I mean, the UN should just basically be like, oh, that's just basically a really terrible immobile boat.
Yep.
Although I wonder, maybe the reason it works is because it works with like oil rigs and whatnot.
Yeah, probably. They wanted people to be able to build oil rigs and then have the rights to around that area.
But still, then maybe that really
drill.
shouldn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah, that should be changed. Anyway, this has been our Christmas episode. Hope you guys liked it. And if you hated it, well, I hope you learned something.
Yeah, me too.
If not, maybe it will sit in the back of your mind while you celebrate.
Yep.
And maybe eventually you will learn the true spirit of not Christmas. I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. And if you want to celebrate, like we said, that's fine. You do you. You want to celebrate a different holiday? That's fine too.
Yep.
Personally, with us, we just kind of did a podcast. That's the closest thing we did to celebrating Christmas. We did a Christmas podcast.
Yep.
What are we going to do next year?
I don't know.
I kind of would want to do like a Hanukkah or Kwanzaa one, like just pick a different December holiday. But we'd have to know about that. I would prefer to get some like for Christmas, like we've been steeped in Christmas culture our lives, so we're our own experts, right? But for those, we'd want to get experts.
Yeah.
Also, I wouldn't want to ruin them nearly as much. It's easy to kick Christmas down when they're king of the castle.
Yep.
So I don't know what we'll do for next year. Maybe we just won't do anything. You know what? Yeah. This has all been about how celebrating Christmas is often a farce, at least the way it's normally presented. So you guys can do what you want to do, everyone to each their own, but we aren't going to celebrate Christmas anymore, and therefore next year don't expect a Christmas episode. We'll just release something about,
We could
I don't know, racism.
Yeah, sure.
Again. I'm not committing to that. I just think it would be funny.
Yeah.
To just ignore Christmas entirely. Be like, wait, what? What's Christmas? What's Christmas?
What's Xmas?
X is a replacer for Christ.
Yeah, I know. Most people don't know that, actually.
Yeah, it's like a sideways cross. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
Anyway, I guess we're done here.
Yep.
So I'm Kyle.
I'm Kira.
And we got social media throughout the world trailing on Santa's sleigh. Falling out the back as it oozes with lies. And then all of a sudden, ow, I got hit on the head by Game Theorem's social media. And then their contact email at gametheorems@gmail.com. Ow, that hurt. Also on iTunes. Man, it keeps happening. Bye.
Bye.